In this video, we're going to build the front end of our authentication feature. So that's what we will be having at the end of the video. We have a sign-in page, a sign-up page. We also have a forgot password page, and we can register a user. Let's say I'm going to register myself. We're going to say Yusuf at example.com. And my password, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Yusuf. So we hit agree and join. A user is gonna be created, making a call to our backend endpoint that we have built in the previous video. And as you can see, the user, let me refresh, it has been stored in our MySQL database. So it's this one. And we have an email verified that's set to 0. So that's why we are getting this page. So if I even try to go to the home page, I'm gonna get redirected here because the email is not verified, and we have sent an email actually to the given email. To test that, we have set it up in the previous video, Mailhog, which is an SMTP server that's going to help us emulate email sending and receiving. So I have received the email with a token that is going to be expiring in 1 minute. So let's say I'm gonna grab it, come back here, add it. Let's say I add a wrong one, validate. So it says the email verification token failed. I give the right one, validate. The email verification token expired because in our backend we have set it to be only valid for 1 minute. This is just for testing. So I should get a new email. So let's say I'm gonna hit this send again. So it says a code has been sent. Let me come back here. So as you can see, we have received a new email. Grab it, come here, paste, validate. The email has been validated, so we are able to access the home page of LinkedIn. That we are going to be completing in upcoming videos. Still, we are going to be setting up the general layout of the LinkedIn. As you guys may already know, that's how it looks. So here you'd be having the post from your connection. Here is the box where you can post. Here is going to be your profile, and here you're going to be having some ads and some suggestions of profile that you can connect to or to follow. So let me actually log out. And let's say that I have forgotten my password, so I can reset it by giving my email. It was Yusuf at example.com. I'm gonna hit next. So it says enter the verification code we sent to you, like in your new password. So if I come back to the Mailhog server, we have received a new email that has the subject of password reset instead of email reset. So if I click on it, we have a token. Let me grab it, paste, and change my password. So I'm gonna pick a new password. Let's say I'm gonna add just password for now. I'm gonna hit save, reset. So my password has been reset. Now I can connect Yusuf at example.com with the new password. And it was password. Sign in. Yeah, so we're on the home page again. So we're gonna log out. So we'll be building all of this, and also everything that we're gonna be building is going to be responsive. Yeah, I said it is going to be responsive. So if I go to like small screens, that's what we will be having, and it's going to be responsive on all the pages. And if you want to have an idea of the final code base, so it's going to be looking like this. So we'll be having components that are going to be used by all the features on LinkedIn. Then we'd have a features LinkedIn, where a feature folder where we're going to be having specific features of LinkedIn. So the authentication is going to be a feature. That's where we are going to be focusing in this video. And we'll also have a feed folder where we're going to be having the layout that I have showed you earlier. And we'll be completing this one in upcoming videos. So the authentication, if we open it, we would be having components. We'd have a context that's going to help us work with the authentication. We would have also pages. So the pages that I have showed you earlier are here. So we have the login page, we have the reset password page, the sign up, the verify email, and we'll be styling all of this using a CSS. So you'll also be learning a little bit about how to build very good looking and professional website using not pre-made components, but with pure CSS to some extent. So just to show you the responsiveness again. So that's what we will be building. And if you are curious about the backend that we have built in the previous video, the link is going to be down below. And just to give you an idea, it's a backend that we have built using Java and Spring Boot with a MySQL database, and we have tested all of this using endpoints that we have created in a Postman. So that's how the backend that we have built look like. So it kind of similar to the front-end structure. So we'd have a configuration, a controller that is going to be applicable to all LinkedIn, and we'd have a features folder where we have the authentication feature, where we have a model, some controllers, and also the service and all. So that is if you are interested in backend, or you're curious about how we built all of this, how we have set it up, our database and our Mailhog, the SMTP server and everything. You can watch it, and later or before watching this one, but they are independent. The two videos are independent. This one is going to be very front-end focused, and the last one was backend focus. This is the repository that we have been using since the beginning of this series. The backend is at what we have done in the previous video, and the front end is at the stage of what we did in the first video of the series, where we just created this folder using Vite.js. So I have actually cloned the project, and I have opened the front-end folder in VS Code, as you can see here, and I have Chrome on the right side. Also, I have opened a new terminal, so I would go into this folder to set up our backend. So I'm gonna go into the LinkedIn folder and into the backend and run a Docker Compose app, so that we have our database and our Mailhog, the SMTP server for receiving emails that I have showed you earlier, to run. So it's going to be Docker Compose app. So as you can see, we have our MySQL and also the Mailhog. Then I'm going to go into the backend again. It's going to be LinkedIn backend, and I'm going to start the Spring Boot project like so. So this is going to run our Spring Boot on localhost 8080. So let's come back to our VS Code. In here, we're gonna install the packages. Let's say it's gonna be npm install. So we're gonna install all of these packages. Then we will just simply run npm run dev. And if I open the link here on localhost, so as you can see, we have nothing, just like the template that V has generated. Let me clean up all of this. So I'm gonna delete this. I'm also gonna be deleting these two like this. We have this logo that's in the public folder as well that we're gonna be deleting. And then in the main, for now, we are gonna just be rendering a div. It's gonna say hello world like this. And let me also remove the styles that are in here. So guys, we have a project that's clean, and also I will be assuming that you have some basic knowledge about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React.js. if you don't, you can save this video and go watch some tutorials and then come back. But if you have like a very basic knowledge about these, it's gonna be enough, and you are gonna be learning more of it as you go through the video in this series. So the first thing that I will be doing is that we'll be using a CSS instead of CSS. So for this to work in Vue.js, we need to install the Sass packages like as a dev dependency. So now if I come here in my package.json, we have these dev dependencies that are added by Vite when we created the project, and this is the one that I just added. And in our dependencies, in our like the dependencies that the project will be using, we only have React and React DOM. So after that, I am going to convert actually this to a CSS. As I said, that's what we'll be using. So here, normally we would have an error here. So yeah, there's an error because it doesn't found it. So we need to add the right extension. And in this index.css, we will be having some reset, like styles that are going to be common to all the LinkedIn project. So what we have here, so we have two colors. We have the LinkedIn primary color, and we have a darkish LinkedIn primary color. So if you want to know where I picked this, so I just went here on the sign in page, and I have picked. So as you can see, if you hover, the color changes a little bit. So I have inspected this one, so like this, and we have here the color. So that's what I picked. And then I am selecting all the HTML elements, and I'm removing the margin and the padding, just changing the box sizing, making sure that every element inherits the font of its parent, because by default elements like form element, they don't inherit the font of their parent by default. And also we are saying that the color also should be inherited, and then we are setting this font family. This font family is actually not the font of LinkedIn, but I like it, and I thought that we can use it. So it's a Google Fonts family, so Google Fonts, and it's called Poppins. It is yeah, this one. So I have clicked the get, and then the get embedded code, and then I have grabbed the HTML here. So let me actually copy, and we are going to paste it in our index. Let me come back here in our index.js here. So we apply it, save. As you can see, the font now has changed. So coming back here, also we're saying that all the images, they should have a max width of 100, a display of block. I'm also selecting the button and saying that the outline should be none, the border is none, the background color should be transparent, and the cursor is going to be a pointer. So as you know, when you hover over a button, instead of showing you a cursor that says that it is clickable, like when you hover on a link, it doesn't by default. So that's what we are doing here. And then I'm removing the text decoration on the links. So that's it for our global style, and all the other components that are going to be on the page are going to have their style next to them in a folder. Other thing that I did is that I inspected the page again, and I have copied actually this SVG, which is the logo here. I've copied it and I have pasted it here in a .svg file, and then I also did the same with this one, and it's in this logo dark.svg. And the other thing I did is that I looked for this 5 icon. So I have checked 5 icon, and I have grabbed this link, so the HTTPS link here, and I have and I have So I have downloaded this one, and it's here, and I think that I didn't add the extension, so it should be favicon.eco. So this is the favicon, and here we are going to add this favicon. So it's going to be a link, and it's going to be a favicon link, and we're going to do like this. So as you can see, it has changed. So we have the same thing. And yeah, that's it actually for the setup. Let us create our routes. So for that, we're going to be needing the React Router DOM package. So I'm going to install the DOM package. So it should be added. Yeah, it's here. And let me come back to our main .tsx, and here we're going to create a router. So it's going to call router is going to be equal to, we are going to be using the create browser router from React Router DOM, and this one is going to take an array. This is actually the syntax of the React Router DOM since the latest version. We could use the old way of doing, but this is like the kind of recommended way since their latest release. So we are going to be having here a element, and let's actually for now we are going to just to be adding our routes like this. The first one is going to be our path, and it's going to be to the home page like this, and we're going to say what it should render. So we're going to just to say home for now like this, and we are going to grab this one, the router, and we're going to render it here. So we are going to call the router provider from the route provider from React Router DOM like this, and we are going to give the router like so, and this one should be for now. Actually we don't need this one because everything is going to be rendered by the router provider. So by having this, as you can see, we have our home here, and we are going to be having also the same but for our login page. So we're going to have a login page, and then we are going to have, let me call it login. We're going to have the sign up, and we're going to call it sign up here. Also we have the reset password request. So request password reset. This is where as I showed you in the beginning of the video, where we send password reset tokens. Also we're gonna have the verify email. It's going to be verify email like so, and we're gonna call it verify email. Here it's a password reset. Like so. So now if I go to the home page, if I go to the login, we have login, and the same for the others. Let me delete this folder as we will not be using. We're going to just to be adding our images here in the public. It's much simpler. So then we're going to create our features folder. Then we are going to be having the authentication folder, authentication, and also the feed folder, the home page where we have the post. Like this. Here we're gonna have a folder that's gonna be called pages, and we're gonna have the feed page feed. Also, I'm going to create the CSS model dot CSS that's going to be attached to this component. And by using the dot module, we are able to encapsulate actually all these styles. For example, if I have a class that's called container here, and sorry, I'm not in the right place, so here, and I use it here, later when we build the project, CSS modules is gonna transform this one to something like a container and some IG like this. So this way different components are not gonna be fighting like with in terms of styles. So we're sure that the styles that we add here will not impact the others. So that's the handy thing about the CSS, the CSS modules. So let me create a function. So when I type like RFC React functional component and hit enter, I'm getting something that's custom to me, like to the project need, as I know that every component is going to be having a CSS module attached to it. I have actually modified the VS Code parameters to have this custom code snippet. So that's it. Let me actually add here. I'm gonna say this is going to be the feed, and here the home on our router. So the home page is actually the feed. So let me actually replace this one with the right one. So as you can see now, if I go to the home page, I am like it's printing feed. I went ahead and did the same thing for the authentication feature. So I have created all these pages. For now, all of them are empty. They are just returning divs, like printing the name of the component, and CSS modules that are empty, like this. So let us add them here. So the login should be the component, the login that's coming from the features, the authentication feature folder. The same for the sign up, importing it from the same folder. The reset password, this one, and also the verify email, like this. So if I go to login, it is going to print simply login. So if you look at the linkedin.com authentication pages, they are actually different from the application when you log in. So these pages have things that are in common to them, like with this header, with this footer, but when you enter the project, it's not the same. So that's why we'll be having some components that are going to be only in this features folder for the authentication. So that's what we will be doing. So let me actually create a components folder. New folder. It's going to be, we're going to call it components, like so. And the first one that we'll be creating is going to be a layout component. So let me call layout like this. We're going to create a layout.tsx, and also it is style. So it's going to be layout.module.css. Create it like so, and this layout component is going to be receiving like the children like so. We should specify the type here. So it's going to have the children type is going to be a React node imported, and we are going to run that here like this. So, and this one is going to be wrapping all these pages. So it's gonna wrap the login like this. Sorry, like so. And also it's going to wrap the sign up, the reset in all of them actually. So let us actually add like so, as well as here. The verify. Let me import it like so. And what we will be having in this layout. So before rendering these children, there are some things that we will be adding here, like the header that you see here, and also the footer. That's what we will be adding here. So let me come back here and grab this one. So before rendering the children, we'll be having a header, then we'll be having a main, and finally we'll be having a footer. So in the main, we'll be handling the content that is coming from the pages, so like this. And actually I don't know why yeah, sorry, it should be just like this. So let me actually come back here, and if we look at the LinkedIn here, so it doesn't, like here, like it doesn't grow to fit all the available page. So that is what we will be having as well. So as you can see, so we'll be having a container class here. Let me actually add the root, and then we'll be having a container class that is going to have a max width of, let's say 74 rem, and then a width of 100%, a margin of 0 in auto, sorry, it should be 0 in auto. So by doing that, like actually let me add it here. So here the container is going to the main is going to have this container class. So let me make it bigger for now. For now it's gonna like take all the available width, but we don't want that. So let me add the class. Dot container, and we need to import it. It's already imported. So let me save. Now as you can see, it is not touching the end screen. At some point it's blocked. So that's what we want here. And then we want the same thing for the header as well here. So I'm gonna add it like so. And the footer is going to contain a div that will have actually it's gonna be a UL that's going to have this class. Why? I'm going to show you in a bit. Why? Because if you look at the final design here, so as you can see, the footer has this background, and it's taking all the available width, but the elements that are within, they are locked at this width. So that's what we will be doing with this UL. So then in the header, we'll be having a link that's going to take us back to the home page, and it's going to contain an image. So the image is going to be our logo, the logo that we have added earlier. So src is going to be logo.svg, and we're gonna close it like this. So if I come back here, as you can see, we have our logo here. That's all we have in the header. Let me actually add the thing that we have in our footer. So in the footer, we will be having LEs. So the first one is going to contain an image. So let's say that will contain the dark logo. So it's going to contain this logo dark, that is VG, and close it. And then it's going to as you can see here, it's going to contain this thing. Let me add it in a span like so. And after that, will be having these links. So LEs that are going to contain links. So let me actually paste them so you don't watch me type all of this. So let me remove this. So we have all these LEs, they are just links like these, and let us come back. So as you can see, it's looking very bad for now, and we're gonna style all of this. So let me come back to the layout. The first thing that we will be doing is that, as you can see, we have the header always at the top, the footer at the bottom, and this one is taking the available width. How we do that? For now, like, everything is cluttered. So for that, we're gonna be using the display grid hack. So it's gonna be a display grid. We are going to say that our page is going to have a grid template of like 3 rows. The first one is going to be auto, like it should take the height that is suited for its content. The one that's in the middle, our main, is going to take all the available height. In the last one, the footer is also going to take like the smallest height possible. And then we need to say that our the mean height of our element is going to be 1v weight. So by doing so, as you can see, we have the header at the top. If I inspect the page, actually that's what's happening. So this is our, so as you can see, we have the header here, the main, and then the footer. For now, the footer seems to be very big because it is big, but we're gonna just be changing all of this. So let me come back here. We're going to grab our footer and say that it's going to have a font size of 0.8 rem, a background of white. Then we are gonna grab the link that are in them. They're going to be having a color that's slightly like transparent. As you can see, they look like this. Let me change the image. We're gonna give it a width of 4 rem, and we're gonna also grab the UL, and we're going to say that it should have a display of flex and a align items of center, a gap of 1 rem. We're also going to say that it should have some margin tab to separate it from the main. It's gonna make sense in a bit of 2 rem, let's say. We're also gonna be having a flex wrap of wrap, like so. And our root actually is going to have a background color that's slightly darker, so that the background color of the footer appears like this. So here also the container shouldn't, like the elements in the container shouldn't be touching the end screen like this. So let me add a padding of let's not here, we're going to be adding a padding of 2 rem, so that they don't touch the end screen like they did earlier. So let me come back here. The LE, they are going to have a display of flex, a gap of let's say 0.5 rem, and align items of center as well. So as you can see, our LinkedIn here has been like next to the span. All the pages actually, for all the pages that we have, like if I go to the sign up as well, the only thing that changes is the main, but these two are the same. So let me actually also change one other thing. So the header here, this one, I'm gonna add a class name of logo because I want it to be a little bit bigger. So let's say it's gonna have the logo class, and here I'm gonna say that the logo is going to have a width of 7 rem, like this, so it's slightly bigger. So let us style actually the sign up page. so it's this one. For that, as you can see, actually this box, this white box, is going to be also something that's be common to the form here, like here as well, in all the pages. So that is a key indicator that we should like extract this in a component. So, and also that component is not going to be elsewhere on the LinkedIn pages. It's only like applicable to the authentication folder. So again, I'm gonna add it here in the layout, next to the layout here. So I'm gonna call it box, and let me create it. So it's going to be box.tsx. It is style model.scss, and this actually is going to be, let me make this and come here. So we're going to generate a box class that is going to accept the children, like it's going to be a children, and we should specify the type. So children is going to be a React node, like this. And this is actually the style of this is going to be very straightforward, as we will be simply having a, like on the root. The root is like the thing that is here, like here. Let me actually render this like so. Let me call it in our login component here. Yeah, we're on the sign up, so let me go here, and here I'm gonna render it. So it's box, like so, and it should wrap this one like this. For now, nothing is happening, but we're going to be adding some styles here. So what we do here is that we'll be having a media query, a media of screen, and when we are on a min width of 8 pixels like this. So we are actually using a mobile first approach here. So we change the things on desktop, like here, that's everything that's by default, and that we will be doing for all the components. So when we are about this width, we're gonna say, for now nothing is happening, so we're going to say, let me make it smaller here. So we're going to say that we'll be having a padding of 1.5 rem. Now it's applied. We're gonna have a width of 30 rem, a margin of like 0 in auto, like so. We'll be having a background color of white, like the footer, like so, and a border radius of 8 pixels, like this. So as you can see, we have our box here, and it's only visible when we go to like this width. Coming back to the sign up, so here we are going to have like a h1, which is going to say sign up like this. Then we would have a p tag that's gonna say make the most of your professional life. So that's what we have. Sorry, that's what we have here. Let me just make sure I didn't miss type anything. So yeah, so that's what we have, and then we'll be having our form. So it's going to be a form. It's not going to have any action because we are going to be handling this with JavaScript later on. Then we're going to have an input, like 2 inputs for the password and also for the email. So as you can see, this input actually is the same that we have on the sign-in page. So we're going to be adding it to its own component. So that's what we will be having. And also this input is nowhere on any page on LinkedIn. It's only on the sign in like authentication related pages. So we are gonna be having it here in the authentication folder. So here we're gonna create a folder. We're gonna call it input. Sorry, yeah, like this. Create input.tsx. Should be with a capital letter, as it's a React component by convention. Then we're gonna be having input.module.css, like this. Let me come back here, create one. For now, let's say just input, and I'm gonna add it here on the sign up page. So here we'll be having an input that's going to have a type of email like this, and also an ID that's going to be also email, a label of email as well, like this. And yeah, that's it for now. And as you can see, TypeScript is yelling because it's saying that actually I didn't import it. That's the first thing. Then it's saying that there is no type on this input element. So for that, we'd actually need to add the type of the input. So it's going to be, let me come back here. So here we're gonna have an interface. It's gonna be a type. It's gonna be input props equal input HTML attribute from React, and we are going to be extending the HTML input element like this, and we'll be extending it with one like property, which is going to be a label string, and it's going to be, yeah, like this. So as you know, there is no label property on an input. That's why I am adding it. So here we're gonna actually be returning so a div. Let's keep it actually like this, and then here we'll be having an HTML label that's going to be rendering the label that we receive here, like this. Yeah, we should actually, sorry, we should grab the label here, and here we're gonna say it's going to be of input props, like this. So now the label is appearing, and then we're gonna render an input. So here we're gonna grab all the other properties. So we're gonna say other props, and we're gonna add them here. Like this. So now this is an email, like it's showing like the right ones because it's coming from the sign up page. So it's, if I change it like to let's say a password, it's also going to be a password, as you can see. So that's what it should be email for now. And then we'd be having on the sign up page again here an input that's going to be a password. So let me change this. It's going to be a password. Here the ID is also going to be a password, and the label is going to be also a password. Yeah, with a capital P, like this. Here the label should be email, like so. So it's looking ugly, but we're gonna style it like it should be like this at the end of the video. And also we'll be needing a button, like this button. And as you can see, this button is also here, and it is also here, and it isn't in any other place. So we are going to be having this component also here in the components folder that's here in the authentication folder. So we're gonna create one, and we're gonna call it button, like this. It's going to be button.tsx, created this style, button.model.css, like this. For now it's just gonna say button. Let us come back to the sign up here and render the button. So it's gonna be button, like this, and we're gonna say that this button is going to be of type submit, and sorry, I shouldn't be closing this one, and it's gonna say agree and join, like so. But it's yelling because it doesn't know about this type element, because we didn't define any props here. So let's come back here, and here it should be a button class, a button HTML element, first thing first. Then we will be having a kind of similar type like here. Let me bring it here. It's going to be, so let me actually grab all these trees, so they are going to be like this. I should import this one from React, and so add this here. I don't need a label, but I will be needing a attribute that's going to be outline. It's going to be a boolean, and it's going to be optional here. So let me grab here, and also all the others. I'm gonna add it here. So like our class is going to be, so we'll be having actually here, we'll be having two classes. So there is the root class like before, and then let me actually add this one like this. So it should be here. So we have the root class, but also another one here, but that's going to be conditional. So let me paste it here. So it's going to be, we're going to say is outline true. So if that is the case, we're going to also be rendering a class of outline like so. And if it's not the case, we will just be rendering an empty string like this. Why we have this outline class? Because here, if you go to the password forget, for example, here we have this one, which is, this should be outline, an outline button, and this one the regular one. This is why we need these two. So let me come back like this, and here, yeah, we need to style all of this. So we're gonna say root. Let me actually just copy paste this, as there is, it's a simple one. So paste. So as you can see, it has changed, and I'm going to explain what we have here. So we are saying that it's going to have a display of flex, a justify content of center, why it's centered here, and a line item also of center. We are this one we don't need it anymore actually. A width of 100%, because by default buttons are like small. We're also adding some padding, the background color that I have talked about. I've added a color, a border of, this is not needed because we have actually removed here in the here we have removed already the border. So let me come back here, and the color, I've added this very big border radius because I want this pill shape. As you may already know, guys, to have a pill shape you need to set a border radius that is greater than the height of the element, and having this ensure that it's greater. A margin block, like the margin block is margin top and margin bottom, and some transition. And what I'm saying is that when it's disabled, I want you to apply these styles. For example, if I add it here, you're gonna see it, because we're gonna disable it when we make a request to our client later on. So here if I add it like, sorry, manually disabled like this, as you can see it becomes like this, and this happens when we make a call to our client, to our backend API. That we don't need anymore actually. And also if it's not disabled and it's not outlined, let me refresh, we would change the color like from this to the darkish one like this. And when it has a class of outline, I'm saying that the, like, I want it to be like this, so I'm saying that the background should be white, the color, the border, I have a border as you can see here, some padding, a color of black, and from the font weight I have also changed it to normal. And when it's not disabled, I want, when we hover, I want to change the border color like this. So that's it for our button. Can come back here. Now we have to style our input here. So for the input, what we will do, it's also similar. Let me actually paste. It's quite simple. I am saying that it should, like, I could just have said a so I am adding a display of grid on the root. So if you remember, here we have a label and also the input, the real input HTML element here. So by adding a display grid, I'm able to add some gap between so the two elements, and then a margin block, and then styling the input. I'm saying that it also should take 100%, some padding, a border, and a border radius. So as you can see, we have this shape. So if I make it bigger, as you can see, it's looking kind of similar to the final result. So if I go back to the, but here the title is bigger. So let me come back here. We actually could add the style for the H1 here, but since it's the same also on the login page, and I don't want to create a component for this simple like style, so I'm going to add it here on the layout here. So in the layout, we'll be having a class, like grab the H1 here like this, and we will say that it would have a font size of 2 rem. So as you can see, it's bigger now. It's also going to have a font weight of bold, a margin bottom of let's say 1 rem like this. So if we look at the sign up before, like the agree and join, like before this button, we have this text, but actually there is something that I didn't do here. So this, we are not rendering it. So as you can see here, we are just rendering button, because let me come back. So here we're gonna also grab the children like this, and here we're gonna say children like this. White ceiling, yeah, actually I didn't use it here, so I should add this one like so. So now we have the agree and join, but before that we have this text, like it contains some links. I'm gonna paste it. So let me actually paste it here before the button here. So that's, there is no classes here, so I'm gonna import this one, import classes from like this. So now it should go away. So actually what I did is that I just have added this text. That is actually VS Code is doing all of this. We can remove. So it's just a simple text that contains some links. So it's this thing. And this disclaimer class, we don't have it for now. So let me, I'm also actually going to be adding this one here. Yeah, actually this one, this text, we only have it on the sign up page. So I'm not going to be adding it to the layout or to a separate component. So I'm just going to be having here on the root a class of disclaimer, and this class is going to have a font size of, let's say 8 rem. And here I should add it. So let's say class name dot root. And it's yelling because we don't accept a class name on the layout. So let me add that. So we'll be having a class name as well, and it's going to be of type string. Add it here. Also class name like this. So now these are being grayish. I think that we did something wrong here. So yeah, I know, actually these styles should be applied only like to the footer element. So I'm gonna grab them. So grab all of this, and I'm gonna be pasting them in here like this. Save. Now they are like the other elements on the page, but we should change that. So let me come back here, and I'm gonna say all the A element, they should have a font weight of bold like this, and the color of var, and they're going to be the primary color, so like so. Let me come back here, here on the register, on the sign up. These two are, so yeah, okay, no, we actually should add because the text is touching like the A element, so we need some space here. That is like a React thing. Like in a normal HTML, if you add a space like this, it's gonna take into consideration, but in React you should like space the text with elements with this, like with a real space. So copy this, and we'll be having the same here after the end, so that it do not touch the link after. So that's it for the sign up. As you can see, we have something similar to some extent to the final code, but what if you notice, the disclaimer is smaller here, but here it's like bigger. So that's what we will do here. Let me come back. I'm gonna grab the disclaimer class. It would be 0.7 like this. So now if we compare the final, like they are the same. Here we miss this thing, so that's what we will be adding. And this separator we are also going to be having on the login page, so I'm gonna add it to its own component. So let me do that. So here I'm gonna create in the components folder a folder, and I'm gonna call it separator like this. .tsx, call it separator for now, and I'm going to add it here. So in the sign up page, after the agree in join, so it's actually should be after the add, like outside of the form here. So we're gonna add this separator component like this, and then we're gonna use a div that's going to have a class name of register like this. So sorry, we should use classes here like this, and we are so we're gonna say already, let me copy actually the text. So we're gonna say already on LinkedIn, and we will run the link from the creator DOM. So actually using this link is what makes us to change like pages without reloading the page. Like if you use a normal HTML link, it's gonna reload the page. So let me come back here. Let me save all of this. Something is wrong. Okay, I know, here we didn't create the separator class. The separator is CSS, so let me create that. Separator.module .css like this. So now we have our separator, but it shouldn't look like this, right? So let me actually remove this. So this, we're going to be accepting a children. So let's say I have a children, the text that's coming, and we're going to say it's going to be, sorry, children is going to be a React node, like so, and add it here like this. And here we're going to say so we're gonna say or like this. And that's all we will be having in the separator class. And what you see here, we're gonna be doing it with the help of CSS. So how we do that, we're gonna be actually using the after and before pseudo elements. So we're gonna grab the root here, and we're gonna say a display of, you should have a display of, for now actually let me keep it like this and just add the after and the before element. So after, and then the before, they're going to have content of like nothing. They're going to have a height of 1 pixel, a margin of, let's say 1 rem and 0 to the side, a background color of an RGBA of, let's say 0 0, and 0.5 should be RGBA like this. So let me save them. And for now we're not seeing anything because they have they do not have any width. Let's say I'm gonna add some width. Let's say they are gonna have a width of 2 rem like this. Why they are not visible? So root, yeah, they are not visible because by default they have a display of inline, and when you have a display of inline, the width is not going to work. Let's say they're going to have a display of block like this. Now as you can see, they are visible, but we will not be setting the width here. Instead we'll be using display grid and set the width like on the parent here. So we're going to say display of grid. We're going to be having 3 columns. Like the first one is going to take all the available width. The one in the middle, like the or text, is going to have a no2, and then the last one is also going to be taking a like similar width. So then we're going to say an align items of center. So they are centered, and we're going to add some gap. Let's say 1 rem, and we're going to be adding a margin block of 1 rem, let's say, to separate things. So now as you can see, it's looking good. And this the register, this here, it's centered. So that's what we'll be doing next. So coming here on the sign up, we have the class, but we didn't do the style here. So we're gonna say text align. Sorry, there's something wrong. We're gonna say text align of center like this. So now as you can see, it is centered here. So here. So if we compare with the final result, let me come back to the join page. So as you can see, I'm changing, but there is one thing that's different. So if we come back to the box here, yeah, there is one thing that's missing actually. We have a small shadow here, as you can see, that we don't have here. So I'm gonna add that. We're gonna have a box shadow of, let's say 0, 4 pixel, 12 pixel, in RGB A of let's say 0 0 0 and 0.5, like this. So now I'm changing, but you're not even noticing the change here. Here actually something is happening because the font weight that we have added on the layout is applying also on the footer. So here we're gonna say that font weight is going to be a normal. So now it's looking like, as you can see, similar, but there's one thing that's missing. So this one, yeah, we don't have this one. So let me come back to this. It's in the layout actually. So here next to the image we need this like copyright. So now I will be changing, and like they are exactly the same pages. There is one difference though. Like here, if I try to register in a user that's already there, like this one already exists. So if I type agree and join, we'd have this error message. It's an element that we show like dynamically, and that we don't have it on our here. So I'm actually gonna be adding it. So it's going to be, as you can see, above the disclaimer. So here we're gonna have a class that's a p tag that's gonna be rendered dynamically, like when we have an error message, and this error message is going to be a React. We're gonna have set error message React state. So we're gonna say use state like this, and it's going to be empty for now. So if I add some stuff here, let me come back. So if it's empty, there is nothing. If we add some stuff, it's appearing, but it's not like it should be red, right? So here we need a error style. Let me come back here. So the error is going to be of color red and the margin bottom of like to separate it from the disclaimer. So that's it for the sign up. As you can see, let me come back just to remove it. Now it's yelling, but because we are not making any request and so we are not using this one. We're gonna change that in a bit. For now, if we click here, we're going to the login page, and the login is looking awful. So let us style the login page like we did here. So it's gonna be actually the same thing. As you can see, the login is the same. Is the same as the sign up. It's just that we don't have the disclaimer. So I'm not gonna be wasting your time like doing the same thing again. So I'm just gonna be pasting the code. So let me come back here and replace this one with its content. So we also have an error message like on the sign up page that we render dynamically here above the sign in page. So let me come back here. So now the sign in page look like before it looked like this. So it's the same. We have the title, the p tag, and the form that contain the two inputs, then an error message that we render dynamically if there is one, the sign in button, and then we have a link to the forgot password page, which is here. And then we have the same separator and a text that says new to LinkedIn, join now. So yeah, I mistyped here one thing, so it should be like this, like so. So what I did is that also I say that on focus I should change the set error message to 0, because like if we look at the final result, if I type like a user that doesn't exist, I have this error. But when I try to fix my thing, I don't want the error to be there again. So that's what we are doing here. So let me come back here. For now we don't have the calling of the API and all, and we'll be doing that in a bit. So when we click on the forgot password, so we have this instead of this. So instead of this, that's what we will be doing next. So the reset password, where is it? So it's here. It should run. So we're gonna grab the class, import classes from this one, and we're gonna add it here. So that root, like so. And what do we have here? So we're gonna also be rendering a box, the same. Let me import it, And what we say here is that we're going to be having a h1 that says reset password, like here, and then we'd have our form. So our form is going to be form, it's going to be like, we're going to be having a p tag that says the following. Then we'd have an input so it's going to be of so the name is going to be email. The type is also going to be email, and the label is also going to be email, like this. So we have our email input, like here. Then we'd have two buttons. So the first one is is going to be a button. Let me import it, of type submit. Like when we click, it should submit the form. And also we would have another one that's gonna say like take me back, like I didn't forgot my password. And this one is going to be of type just button, and it should be of like we should add the outline because it should have this thing. And when we click on this one, we want to like take the user back like to the login page. How we do that? Well, we're gonna use the use navigate hook. So navigate, like so, and we're gonna say when we click on this one, so when we on click, we're gonna say navigate to the login, like this. So if I click here, I'm gonna get redirected to the login page. Forgot, so it shouldn't be next. Actually, we're gonna say the text was back. Yeah, take me back. So yeah, back. If we look at the final, like if I add my email and then hit next, yeah, it was example like this. If I hit next, I'm actually going to receive my email here, and then the form changes. So now we have a form that contains two input, and the text also has changed. So how we do that? We will be using a state. We're gonna call it email sent. So and also we'll be having set email sent. It's going to be use state, and it's going to be by default false, but just now, actually let me keep it for false, like this. So false, like so. And here we're gonna actually have two different forms depending on whether an email has been sent or not. So if email is sent, we're gonna render. Like if email is not sent, we're gonna be rendering the form that we have just created. And if it's not the case, like if it is already sent, we'll be rendering a different one. For now, we are using the same, but just let me change actually the content of it. So we're gonna have this, like so. And then when the email is sent, we will be having two inputs. So let me come back here. So here, instead of this, we'll be having an input of let's say let me actually add true, so we see the other one. So we would have a new password like this, and also the verification code, like so. And then here, this one is gonna say reset password, like so. And this, we're gonna keep it to give me back. And when we click on this one, we are going to say that the sent email, like it's saying take me back because I didn't have my email somewhat. So we're gonna say sent email sent to false. If we do that, like as you can see, if I click, I'm taken back. Next, I'm coming here. So that's what we did here. And also we'll be having a error message that we render at the top of the here at the top of the submit button. So this error message, what it says is when we enter the wrong token, it's gonna show this one, and the error message should be also a React state. I'm just gonna paste it here. For now it's gonna be empty. So we have this error message. I'm gonna paste it, and the same error message we will also be having in the first component, so in the first form. So when we hit next here, like say I'm gonna add false here. When we hit next, we'll be making an API call and getting back an answer, and then go to the email sent form. So for that we may get errors. So that's what we will be showing here. So at the top of our next button, like this. For now there's nothing. So if I add something, it's going to be, yeah, like so, back. So that's it for our reset password. For now, we're gonna add the logic in a bit. For now, let us style the verify email page. So let me come back here. So to our main here. So the verify email page for now. So it's looking like this. That's what we should implement. So let me come back here in the verify email. So we're gonna import the class like so, and we're gonna add it here. Root, like so, and here we'll be also having a box the same as the others, a h1 that says verify your email, like so. Also we'll be having a form that will, let me remove the action because we'll be handling with JavaScript later on. We're gonna have a p tag that says so let me come back here. Actually, I'm gonna copy actually the text just from the code here. So it says only one left before like taking full advantage. Then we have our input. So the input, let me import it, is going to be a text input that's going to have the verification code like this. Then we would have a error message that's going to be shown below if the token is not valid or it has expired. So it's going to be let me paste it. So it's going to be like this. We don't have it for now. I'm going to add it. Also, when we send an email, like here, when I'm going to show it in a bit, but when we send an email, we also want to show a message that says we have sent a new email. Like when the user says send again, we will be saying we have sent it, and we would show a message that's going to be green instead of like a red like here. So let me actually here also add a condition. It's going to be like this, and I'm going to say when there is an error message, run this. And these two are going to be React states that we will be updating later on. So let me import React, so paste, and after that we'll be having a button that says it's going to be a submit button that says validate email. Import it, and also we'll have the send again button that's going to be of type button instead of submit. It's going to be outline, this one. So when we click, we're gonna send a new message that we'll be doing in a bit. So for now, that's it for the verify email. The last page that we didn't style so far is the feed, like the home page. So that's what we'll be doing. Let me come back here. So as I said earlier, the feed is going to be in a different folder than the authentication because it's a separate feature. As you can see, it's here, and it won't be using the same components like in the same layout because it, like on the LinkedIn project, like they are different. The header, the footer, everything is different from the authentication pages. So that's why it will be different. So let me actually paste it. It's going to be a very simple one. So we would have a header, this header that contain a div that say hello. This is going to be dynamic in a bit. For now, let me write it like this, a separator like this, and then we have a button that says logout. We'll be making it dynamic as well in a bit. Then we have our main page. The main page, it contains like a, let me show you actually here. If I log in, user at example user, like so. So I should verify there by sending again. So let me code send again. Let me grab it here. So I have just received it. Copy, paste, validate. So as you can see, that's what we have here. And let me close this one. Come back here on the feed. What I wanted to show you is that this is the header and its content. And then we have the main. In the main, we have a left div, which is this thing. Then we have a center div, which is this thing. And the center div has two elements, like the posting, like the form for posting content, and the feed is going to be the post, like below. Then on the right, we have this div. And now, if I go back here, we are seeing nothing because we didn't add the styles for it. So let me add the root here. We're gonna say that it should take all the available height, like this. It should have a display of grid, a grid template, rows of, let's say, auto, and one fr. So as you can see here, this one is taking just this height, and the available is taken by the content. So the header is taking auto, and the main is taking all the available remaining height. So that's what we are doing here. And then our content is going to be it's going to take all the available. Actually, let me keep. We're going to say display of grid. Okay. We're going to say it takes a display grid template rows of, come back here. So here we'd be having 10 rem, 1 fr, and 10 rem, like this. So if we look at this, at the content, that's what we see here. So we have 10 here, 1 fr, and 10 rem at the bottom. Then what we do, come back. Now they are not visible because we need to add actually some background here on all these elements. So now they are visible. And then we say that we'll be having a gap of 2 rem. Okay. Then a padding inline of 2 rem as well, like so. A max width of 74 rem, because like when we go to bigger screens, we don't want the content to go like to take all the available width like the header. So for that, we also gonna add the margin of 0 in auto, like this, and the width by default should be 100%, like so. We're gonna say that the header is going to take a height of 4 rem. We're gonna remove the border radius of the header, so it should be 0. I'm gonna have the class actually, so it should remove this, and then we're gonna be having a display of flex. So we're gonna say flex justify content of flex end, align items of center, we'll be adding some gap and also some padding, let's say of 1 rem. So that's what's happening here. Then there's one thing that we should change actually, because remember the center element should contain 2 elements that also should be different, and now they are kind of grouped together. So let me come back here, and we're gonna say that the center is also going to be a display of grid like this. It's going to be taking all the available height of its parent like so, and then it is also going to be having a grid template rows of 7 rem 1 fr like this, and then add some gap. We're gonna say a gap of 1 rem. So actually here we also need some gap here of 2 rem like so. So this on mobile, so as you can see it's like this, and when we go on bigger screens we want them to stay like this. So that's what we will do. Let me come back here. I am going to add a media query, media screen, and min width of, let's say, I'm going to pick this one. And what we do is that we're going to grab the content and we're going to say it's going to have a grid template of 15 rem for the profile at the left, 1 fr for the posting in the middle, and then 18 rem for the element that is going to be like for the publicity and all like this. And then we're also going to be changing the grid rows to auto, back to auto like this. Again, we don't want this and this to take like all the available height. We want them to be like this. So let me here grab the left. Is going to have a height of 30 rem. We kind of do the same for the right div like so, and it's going to have like 20 rem, let's say like this. So as you can see, it's similar to the final design that I showed you in the beginning of the video. So that's it for the feed, and we will now be making calls to make all the pages that we designed dynamic. Actually protect the home page from people who are not logged in. For that, we're going to be using a React context here. So I have created a folder that's called context. So we're going to create an authentication context provider component. We don't need this style, so remove this one. And this here, what we will be rendering is that we're going to be returning a context that will allow the pages to get the connected user like here, but also to log in and also to log out. So we will need create a context here. We're going to call it authentication context. So let me say const. It's going to be authentication context. Authentication context. We're going to create a context. Import it from React here, and here we're going to render it. So it's going to be context dot provider, and we should give the value. For now, let me keep just an empty array like this, an empty object. So here we will be rendering actually the user and also the login and the logout functions. So here, let me actually create the type of our user at the top here. So it's going to be interface. We're going to have a type of user, and it's going to have an ID of a string. It's also going to be having an email. It's going to be a string as well. a email verified, which is going to be a boolean like this. And here we also need an interface for our context. So I'm going to say authentication context type, and here it's going to have a user that's going to be of type user or null when it's not logged in, like so. Then we'll be having a login function that's going to take the email and the password, a sign up function, it's the same, and then we'll have a logout function that is not going to return anything. So then this one we should use it here. So we're gonna say that this is of type authentication context type or null when it's not set already. So we're gonna say null here. So and then here it's yelling because it's not getting the elements that we have defined here. We'll do that in a bit. For now, we also need to export a hook that's going to be called export function use authentication. That's going to return simply use context from React, and we give it our authentication context. So that's what we will be using to access data on the other pages, like this. And this one, this context provider actually is going to wrap all the pages here. So for that, we're gonna say we're gonna change this to let's say we'll have element is going to be our authentication provider, like so, and it will have children. The children is going to be an array, and it will contain all of these. Grab, move this. It should be like this. So there's this missing. So now it's like it's blank. There is nothing because this one is not rendering anything so far. If we go back here, so as you can see, we are returning an empty. That's why there's nothing that's being shown. So for that, we're gonna render the outlet from React Router DOM, saying you should render the pages that you receive. So now it's rendering it, but it's not like protecting anything. How we do that? First thing first, we're going to be needing a user state. The set user is going to be a user state with null. Here we're going to say it should be user or null. So the first thing we're gonna be giving this one to the value here. So, and then here we're gonna also be having the authentication pages. So we're gonna say that it's on the auth page when you are on the login, on the sign up, or on the request password reset page. So these are not protected. We'll be having our login function. So the login function, I'm gonna paste it and explain what it does. So here it receives the email and the password, as I said earlier, and it's going to be making an API call to our backend. So our backend is running on localhost 8080, so we need to specify that, and for that we'll be using a .env file, like so, and we need this vite API URL here, and we're gonna say it's gonna be on localhost. So let me just make sure that I have the right one. Yeah, it's this one. So paste it here, come back. So here what our login does is that it's gonna make a post request to our login endpoint using a content type of JSON, and if the response is okay, it's gonna get back a token as part of the response. That I actually we have tested this in the previous video with our postman. So we're gonna be getting a token back. So, and then we're gonna be setting the token in the local storage, and that's it for the login. And if the response is not okay, we have formatted our backend to send a JSON like here. It's always gonna be sending a JSON with a message with a message field. So we're gonna grab just the message and throw this error, and this is going to be catched by the login page to show to display an error to the user. So that's for the login. We have the same logic for the sign up, so which is here. It's going to be making a post to the register, and then it does the same thing. After that, we have the logout function. The logout function, all it does is that's gonna remove the token from the local storage and set the user to null. So we have to give this to the context. So login, sign up, and logout. So these are added here, but still these are not being used and everything is not protected. So how we do that? So for that, we're going to be needing a function called, so paste it here below this one. So it's a function that is going to try to get the user when the page load. So it's going to be making a URL to the endpoint that we have built. It's going to be /user, and it's going to be sending the token as part of the barrier, like so. And if the response is not okay, it's going to throw an error that also going to be like catch here. As you know, when the response is not okay, it's not an error by default. Like when you use fetch, an error is thrown when there is like a network error or something. If the API is able to respond to you, it's not an error, even if it's not even if it's like a 404 or a 500 status code. So that what we are doing here, we make sure that we check this, and if it's not the case, we throw this and we catch it here. And then when we receive the user, we are setting the user, and finally we are saying that we would have actually a loading like state. Let me add it here, like after the user that we'll be using to render a loading state. So as you can see in the final here, you have, it's like very quick, but we have a loading like on LinkedIn. So let me come back here. So this function, we're gonna actually call it when the context is rendered. So we're gonna be using a use effect. Like so. We'll be using the user as a dependency, and here we're gonna say if we already have a user, return, don't do anything. If it's not the case, call the fetch user function, like so, and this is going to log in. So if I actually check the network tab here, so as you can see, it's making a request, but we are getting a 401 response saying invalid authorization token or token is missing. So that's normal because we didn't sign in at all. So every time that happens, we should be redirecting, but for now we're not redirecting like at all. So let me actually come here. The first thing is that we're going to be having a loader when it's loading. So as you can see, by default is loading is true, and after our function here runs, we're going to be setting it to default false. So we're going to say if is loading is true, is loading is loading, we're going to return a loader. And this loader, we have to build it, and it's not going to be in the authentication folder, but it is going to be like here. because it's going to be used by all the features. So we're going to say components like so, and we're going to create a loader component. It should be a folder actually, so loader, and we're going to say loader dot tsx, and our loader, what it contains, let me grab it. It's going to be very straightforward. So it is going to contain like an image, like the logo of LinkedIn, and then it's going to have a container with a content that I will be showing what these like do in a bit. Let me come back here to the authentication context and import this. So now, and let me create also the style here. So it should be a loader.model.css. So now the error is gone, and here let me actually, just to show you the style of the loader, I'm going to comment this, so the loader is always going to be visible. So let us style this loader. Let me come back here. We're going to say that the root is going to have a display of flex, a flex direction of column, align items, we're going to center it. We are going to say that it will have a height of 100 v8, and the width is going to be 100%, like so. And then we're going to grab the image that is within, we're going to say it has a width of 10 rem, a height of auto. We're going to add some margin top, it's going to be like 12 rem, like so. And then we are going to like style the container, like we have this container, sorry, where was I? Yeah, we have this container that contains a content div that's also empty. So that's what we do, container, and we're gonna grab the content as well. We're gonna add a height of 0.1 rem, a width of, let's say, 10 rem. We're gonna have a border radius of like to have a pill shape, and we're not seeing anything because we need some background. So the container is going to have this background. So this background, as you can see, it's visible now. It's small, but it's visible. And we're going to say it's going to have a margin top of 1 rem, let's say. And both of them are, no, I intended to have actually 10 rem, not, so as you can see, it's now big. And the content is going to have a width of 4 rem instead of 10, and a background color of primary. So as you can see, it's here. It's small, but it's here. And then we need an animation, and we'll be using a keyframe here. So let's say like this. And this keyframe, we have to define it. I called it slide. So what it does is that it's gonna go from 1 rem at the beginning to 5 rem, and it's going to infinitely do that in alternate way. So as you can see now, it's doing that. And this is the same loader as the one that we have on LinkedIn. So that's our loader. Let me come back here now, command this back. So now if I save, the loader is shown like briefly because the request is quite quick, and then we have our page. So let us come back here. Yeah, here. So that's what the first thing that we are doing. Then if the loading has finished, so if not loading is loading, and that we don't have a user, so let's say not user, and also we are not on the sorry, it should be like this, and we are not on the on one of the authentication pages. that should be not protected. So if that is the case, we're going to navigate to the login. So now if I save this, we're gonna be redirected to the login, as you can see. So also, if we have a user, we don't want in that it's like email is verified. Okay, if that's the case, and we are on one of the authentication pages, if that's the case, we don't want that to happen. So we're gonna be redirecting. So we're gonna say here should be like this. So we're gonna say return navigate, and we are going to navigate to the home page, because we don't want people to go to the login page, for example, if they are already logged in. So let me save. So that's it. And then when we come here, what happens here? Also we will be having like two conditions within here. So we're going to be having just one condition. So here we're going to say that if there is a user, okay, and that its email is not verified, if that is the case, we want you to navigate to the verify email, like so. So it should be like this. Otherwise, don't do anything like this. Also, we want this, like our user fetch here, to run every time there is a change in the URL. For example, the login page is going to call this function, and if there is no error, it's simply going to redirect to the home page. So that when happens, we need this function to be called again to set the right data, because if it's not the case, it's gonna keep redirecting back. So how we do that? For that, we're gonna grab the location. It's going to come from use location from React Router DOM, like this, and we're gonna watch for the pass here. So next to the user, it's going to be pass name, like this. So now if we try, let's say to go to the home page, we're redirected back to the login. So speaking of the login, let us make it dynamic now. So what this one is going to be doing is that it's gonna grab the login function from our context, our authentication context. So if you remember, we have exported this function from the context provider, and it's gonna give us our login. And this login function will be calling when the form is submitted. So so we're gonna be having a function that's gonna call do login, that will call our login from the context. So const do login is going to be an async function that's going to take a form event, and it's going to be a HTML form element, like so. So it should be like this, and we're gonna give it here. So we're gonna say on submit, we're gonna call this. So you might be asking how I actually know this this type. So let me actually show you how I know that. I would give, for example, a wrong let's say a wrong type, okay, and TypeScript actually is going to tell you that you have given me a type that's void, is not assignable to this type. So they would tell you that it's expecting, as the event, it's expecting this. so it tells you. So that's what I'm like, I used to would grab this and use it here, and the form event, it should come from React like so. So here what we do is that we're gonna prevent the default behavior of the form, because by default it's going to, sorry about that, it's going to refresh the page, and we don't want that. Okay, and then we're gonna grab the email. So const email is going to be equal e like dot current target, and we're going to grab the email input and its value. We're gonna do the same thing with the password, so it's gonna be e dot current target, and this one is going to be a password like so. And for now I'm just gonna log them, so we're gonna say email and password, sorry, like this. So let me actually come here, console log, so delete all of this, and I'm gonna say user at example, and then user sign in. So we are getting the user in the password here, and then we're gonna call our login, the login that's coming from the authentication. Remember, it would throw errors if it's not working, so we're gonna add it in a try catch here, and we're gonna say await login, and we're gonna give it the email and the password like so. And when there is an error, we're gonna check if this error like is an instance of the error from JavaScript, from JavaScript, sorry. So if that's the case, we're gonna say set error message to error.message like this. Otherwise, we're just gonna throw a set error message, and we're gonna say, let me grab it here, and we're gonna say an unknown error occurred, because not all the errors are like of type error. So let us try that. I'm gonna use the user that's in the database. Let us call sign in, and we're getting this error. Why? This should work. So if I look at the network, try again. If I look at the URL, yeah, okay, so there is a problem here. Here actually it should be just like this instead of with the slash, because we are adding the slash ourselves here. So here, so that was the problem. So if I come back to my login, and now if I try with the user, say user like this, sign in, so as you can see the login has passed, and we're getting a payload that says so this is the payload that we're getting back, an email in like I'm looking for the response actually. So we're getting back a token and also a message that says authentication succeeded. And if we look at the application here, the token is being added here by the login, by this one. So here it's adding it. So the login has happened, but we are still on the page because we didn't do actually any redirection. Like now, if I refresh the page, actually we're gonna come to the verify your email, but we don't want the user to redirect, like to refresh the page to get redirected. So we're gonna do it here, like in the login here. We're gonna use const use navigate. Yeah, we're gonna use the navigate function. We're gonna say navigate is going to be equal use navigate from the React router DOM, like so. And also we're gonna use the location from use location. I'm gonna explain in a bit why we need this one. And here, so after the redirection passes, what we do is that we're gonna check, like here we're gonna check in the location state, because like let's say later on when we would have a lot of different pages on LinkedIn, someone tries to access its profile and he's not logged in, so he's gonna get redirected to the login page, and after he log in, we want to send him to the original URL that he wanted to go. So that's what we are doing here. So if there is a from that we will be setting every time, we are gonna grab it otherwise we're gonna send it to the home page. So that's what we are doing here, to navigate to destination. So now this is gonna redirect it. There is still one thing that's missing, is that we need to tell the user when this request is being done. So for that we're gonna be needing a is loading state. Here we're gonna say that the loading is going to be true by when we call this function, like this, and we'll be using a finally block, and we're gonna say that the set is loading is going to be false, like this, and we're gonna disable the button when is loading is true. So disabled is going to be equal is loading, and also we're gonna change the button text if it's loading. So if it's loading, we're gonna show a loading indicator, otherwise we show the original. So let's say if I say true, that's what will happen. So we cannot click anymore, and it shows that it's like loading. For now we will not see it because our API is gonna be very quick, but let me just test it. So I'm gonna say user login, user not found. Yeah, it should be user at example. So as you can see, it is redirecting us here. So upon redirecting, our our context here is going to fire its use effect again, because the path would have changed, and it's gonna call the fetch user and set it. So it's letting us like come to the verify email, because our email is not verified. Let's implement the verify email logic. So here we are going to actually create a function that's gonna call let me actually paste it, as it's quite straightforward. So here, so it's gonna receive the code that we will be pasting here, and it is going to make an API call like to the verification token, and it would give it as a param here, and it's a put request, and as it is an authenticated route, we would give the token that we have generated earlier. So here we also need to create the navigate function from from React Router DOM, like this. And so if the response is okay, we would remove any error message that we have previously created and navigate to the home page. And if that's not okay, we're gonna grab the error message and set it here, and we have a catch error. And so this is when something goes wrong that we don't know. And finally, we're gonna say that the is loading is going to be false. So we also would need this is loading class that's gonna be here, and here we're gonna say here we're gonna disable the button like we did earlier if is loading is true, like this. So we need the same thing on the validate email button here, and what we do is that we are also going to be needing the send again endpoint. So this is going to be another function. This function is going to simply call, like with a get method, this endpoint, and this is going to send a new email. So this, we're going to be calling it when we click on this one. So let me just add a on click here. We are going to call this send token again, this one. So now if I click on this, as you can see, it would call, and when it's successful it is setting this message, so get sent successfully. So we need to use this one here. So here on the form element we're gonna have an on submit, and we're gonna grab the event, and we're gonna say the prevent the default behavior, and then we're gonna say the set is loading to true, like this. And then we are going to grab the code, so the code that we would have pasted here. So it's going to be code const code is going to be e.currentTarget.code, and then dot value, so dot value, and we're gonna call our validate email, giving it the code, and we should say that this is an async function for this to work. And after that has been passed, we're gonna say that the set loading is going to be false, like this. So now if I grab the email that we have sent earlier, we're gonna be calling, and we're gonna be getting a token expired, which is normal because it was for 1 minute. So if I send again, I get a new one here, grab, paste again, and send. So we are redirected to the home page. So that's it for the verify email. And the last one that's remaining is okay, we didn't do also here, this is actually not dynamic. So let me come here, and I'm gonna be grabbing the user. So I'm gonna say const, I'm gonna be calling the user authentication, like this. So I'm gonna grab the user and also the logout function. So when I click on this button, I'm gonna call the logout function, okay? And here we should call the user.email, like this. So as you can see now, it's coming from the user, and if we log out, we're gonna get redirected to the sign in. So the remaining one is a sign up. So for the sign up, it is gonna be the same as the sign in. So we'll be accessing the sign up from our context. Let me add it like this, and we will be also having a loading state to let the user know when it's they are being like signed up, and then we would have a do sign up function. So it is gonna be called here when the on submit happen, so like this. So what this does is that it is gonna say prevent the default, set the loading to like true, grab the email and the password, and then call our sign up like from the authentication. And also we are also gonna needing the navigate from the React router DOM, like this. So also I need to import this. So if that was successful, we're gonna navigate to the home page. Otherwise, if it's an instance of the error, we're gonna set the error. So it's the same thing. And then here we're gonna say that the button, like this button, should be disabled. So it should be disabled when it is loading, like this. And also we could change also here, but we can keep it. So that's it. Actually, we're gonna test all of this. So we're gonna call the user that's already here. Let's say user agree and join. So as you can see, we're getting the error back. So we're catching it here, and we're setting it, and this error is being shown here like dynamically. Let us try a new user. So let's say it's going to be Pooja at example.com, and the password is also going to be Pooja, like this. So now if I say agree and join, so I'm redirected to the home page, and since my email is not verified, the authentication context is redirecting me to the verify email here. So let me sign out. And the last thing that we didn't do is actually the forgot password here. So that we should now implement this logic. It was, yeah, the reset password. So here we would also be having two functions. So the first one is going to be the send email like password reset token. It's the one that we will call when we click on this button. Okay. In the other one, so all it's doing is just calling our API with a put request, and it's giving him the email that is coming from the input. Also would have the reset password. So this is going to be called when we click next. For now it's not working, but I'm going to be showing you in a bit, and click on the reset, like on the final. So let me come back here, and we also would be needing a loading state. Let me add it here, like so. So here we're going to remove this action, and we will be having an on submit event here. So like this, and it's going to be an async function that is going to be grabbing the event. We're going to say e.prevent default. Okay. Then we're going to say set is loading to true. Grab the email. Let me actually paste the remaining part here. So we will be grabbing the email, call the send password reset token, and then we also need a email state. Why? I'm going to be showing you in a bit. So the email state actually is going to be used by the next form. Okay, as you can see, the next form is not asking for the email again, so we need to keep this email in a state. So if we go to the next form here, so let me actually paste it as well. It's on submit. It's going to be kind of similar. So here what we do, I did something wrong, so yeah, it should be like this. Here we're also saying that it should prevent the default, set the loading to true, grab the code, like here with, let me show you, we'd add like the email, we click on next. So here we'd be grabbing the code and the password and calling our reset password, and then we change the set is loading to false. So that's what we are doing. And if we give a wrong token with a password, we're gonna get an error, because this function is going to catch it here and add the message here. So we're gonna click on the back. So when we click on the back, we're gonna remove the error message. It's going to be like nothing. And then if we go back and we're gonna enter our user example, then we'd get a new token, this one. So grab it, so paste and choose a new password, like so, reset, and now we can log in. So that's it, guys. We could have actually, for a better user experience here, like when we add the user here and we add the wrong token, let's say our token has expired, we should, like, for now we have to go back, enter our email again and get back. The ideal thing would be to have a send again button like we did for the email verification, but for now I'm gonna keep it like this. So yeah, guys, we, as you can see, have built something that's very complete. We have everything that an authentication system would require. We're able to sign up, we're able to sign in, we're able to forget password, to validate emails and everything. So let us commit all of this. I'm going to be using the same commit message here and change it a little bit. So git add. So we're gonna say front-end authentication. And there's one thing that I did is that I have created a .env.example, and I have removed this one like from our repository by going like to our home folder where we have our git ignore. So I've opened it with the VS Code, and I have added this env here, because this way we are able to, like, everyone would have its own backend URL if he wants, like he could change its URL later on. So that's it. And then I'm just gonna like commit and push it. So now if we go to our repository, so this one, we have our commit that has passed, as you can see here, and everything that we did is being applied. So guys, that's it for this video. In the next one, we will be building the homepage as a feed, like where we will be able to post ourselves, also to react to the posts of others. So we are gonna be building the backend first and then the front end, like we did with the authentication in this video, in the previous one. So thank you so much, and if this video was helpful to you, please let me know in the comment section, and like it so I am aware. Share it with your friends who are maybe also interested in these topics, and subscribe for the upcoming ones. Thank you again. See you soon.